Okay. This is what we call the triangle inequality theorem, and what the triangle inequality theorem is going to tell us if we can determine if three sides are going to be able to make up a triangle. So there's one thing I want. Let's just kind of go over an example of a triangle that we know of. Okay? Question? Okay. Let's pretend we have an equilateral triangle. All right? And for fun's sake, let's just say we have an equilateral triangle where the measure of everything is 6. Okay? And then maybe let's talk about an isosceles triangle. And let's still say those are 6 and 6, but let's call this 2. Okay? And I'm going to call these triangles, let's call this A, B, C, D, E. This is an equilateral where all three sides are equal. This is an isosceles triangle where two sets of sides are equal in measure. Now, remember some things that we talked about last class period is when you have an equilateral triangle that also produces an equal angular, meaning all the angles are also equal. And also what we just again reviewed, when you have an isosceles triangle, your opposite angles are equal, right? That's what we talked about last class as a review. So anyways, what I want you guys to notice is, or let's maybe ask you, I'll ask Berta, if I was to add, let's talk about this triangle for right now. If I was to add two sides and compare it to a third side, how would the measure of the sum compare to the third side? I don't know. Let's do it. Do it in your head. Let's compare this side plus that side and compare it to that side. What would you say now for those two sides?
We continue with the Ancient Symbolism series, the All-Seeing Eye and the Triangle. An article taken from Rosicrucian Digest, Volume 12, Number 8, September 1934. The All-Seeing Eye and the Triangle. These two symbols combined constitute one symbol which is the most enduring of all. That is, its significance today is just the same as it was centuries ago. It is not a symbol which had a meaning for a certain time, brought enlightenment to men's mind, and was then discarded in preference for another symbol or symbols, which more nearly approached universal truths. A true symbol portrays a definite law or a definite truth of nature, or of the universe, and thus changes but slightly in its form with time. The All-Seeing Eye, as we find it inscribed on the obelisk or the walls of grotto temples in Egypt, or even as we find it used today, has always meant the all-pervading consciousness of God or the universal vision of the deity. No matter where man may go across the face of the earth, he can never evade the divine consciousness represented by the all-seeing eye. Or is he outside of the vision or divinity of its system of laws? The triangle is a symbol of perfection. The law of duality, being a universal law, is represented by 2 points of the triangle. When two different forces or phases of nature are brought together, throughout all of nature, a third condition or thing arises at the point where they will be brought together. The third point or point of materialism is creation and perfection. Thus, the combination of the two symbols as we have them above alludes to the perfection of the divine consciousness, its completeness, its thoroughness, its all-embracing nature.
When our forefathers created this nation under God, they never told us which God they created it under. They set up according to their own philosophy, the procedure to seat the Antichrist upon the throne of the world, ladies and gentlemen. And if you take that 1776 MDC CLXXVI and place them around the corners of 3 pyramids, beginning at the top of the first, at the apex, M, D at the lower left, C at the lower right of the first, then go to the second pyramid, C at the apex, L at the lower corner, X at the right lower corner, and then to the third pyramid at the top, X and the lower left, V and the lower right, I, and then draw an inverted pyramid beneath these three, and going across, adding, exactly as we have placed 1776 in the same order that it appears on the lower course of the pyramid on the dollar bill. We now add across the lower legs and place the sum of each at the lower apex of the inverted pyramid underneath the three. DC is 600. LX is 60. VI is 666. If we go across the top, ladies and gentlemen, we can see the year that the organization that began this great deception and this great enterprise, for they call it the enterprise, we can see the date that they were formed. Going across the very top apex of the three top pyramids, we have 1,000 plus 100 plus 10 is the year 1110. In 1110, the Priory de Sion was formed. They, in turn, created the Knights Templar, who in turn has been creating a mess. So that should give you more than enough cause to stay awake tonight.